do it. I believe we're live on Facebook, Tony Meredith.
This is exciting. Yay!
Hello, good morning, everyone in Facebook land, and welcome to Virtual Coffee. Do you have your coffee? I don't have my coffee.
I've got a virtual water. Does that count?
That's fine. Virtual water, as long as you're hydrating yourself, that is the main thing. I can't actually see the comments today, Tony, so I'm not sure if you can. Juana is driving.
Well, let me see if I can get those up. Just hang on a second. Keep chatting amongst yourselves whilst
amongst myself and the audience that I can't see. Well, I'm out and about in the park today. I've got some outdoor meetings, but I thought, it's good to have a little bit of a different background, a little bit of a different environment to have our virtual coffee, because this is an exciting event. We're launching.
It is. Now, just having a look here. So Juana's just got the image of you and not me. So we need to set it up so that we're simultaneous on the same time.
We have to, Juana, if you can go up to the top and then you can hit the little thing that says gallery, and then the two of us will be next to each other.
Yes. Yes, so at the moment, whenever one of us is talking, they're getting all the screen, but we want to be able
to see the both of us. So Juana, if you can go to the top of the Zoom thing, and it has like little windows, you can click on it and it should say gallery.
There we go. But that's us. Beautiful.
This is why, everyone, you need an extraordinary assistant like Juana, which I refer to as Juana4, because she's amazing. And she does these things, like when I'm out and about and I can't do Facebook Lives, she's got it all set up.
Yeah, so we're going great now. So we're side by side.
Nice. We're side by side. I just feel like you're right next to me, Tony.
And I've got it open for comments. So I've got it here for comments. So please, people, feel free to send through your comments, and I will be able to read them out. There you go. Look at us go.
Wonderful. Thank you. All righty. So Tony, exciting day, because this is something that we've talked about quite a bit, and now we're putting it into action, because I've said to Tony, Tony, we're getting these amazing businesses. We're helping them with our outsourcing. They've got great virtual champions that are on board. However, I do feel a lot of them need coaching. Like, just any business. I think if you're any sort of business, whether it's a life coach or a business coach, there's so much value in it. I said, Tony, we need to be doing something together. And Tony has this incredible program called the Business Accelerator program. So Tony, I'd love for you to be able to talk to us a little bit about that and what that involves, because first, if you're a business that's looking to grow, scale, get better at your sales, your marketing, but operations, right? Maybe ask yourself, are you getting the kind of guidance that you need to be able to take you to the next level?
Oh, absolutely, Cheryl. Well, look, we have coaches in sports, so regardless of what the sport is, regardless of what the level of the player or the team, there's always a coach there, and that person is there to provide objective feedback, guidance, strategy, plans, et cetera, and so it's becoming more commonplace to have a coach within a business, certainly whether it be from a life coaching point of view and helping people from, whether it be the mindset side of things or the business coaching side, which helps from a strategic point of view, from a sales point of view, whether it be leadership side. And what I do is I actually combine them both. So I come from the background of the mindset side, work heavily on the psychology of individuals, but also understand business. Have been fortunate enough to have a very privileged career. In fact, it was 3 years yesterday that I was able to say goodbye to my day job. So it was quite a nice anniversary for me yesterday. But it's about recognizing that we all need people to help us, because from time to time we get in our own way. And so the whole idea of the Business Accelerator program is to help give people, first and foremost, an understanding of why they're doing what they're doing, because a lot of people get into business and they might get into business for the wrong reason. So we spend some time understanding why you're doing what you're doing. The next piece that we focus on is get clear on what you want. When businesses say to me, I want more sales, I say to them, well, if you got $1 more, would you be happy? Well, of course the answer is no. But the reality is that when you say you want more sales, technically $1 extra is more sales. And so the process that I go through it's called Start with the End in Mind. So the end could be 6 months, it could be 12 months, it could be 24 months. It doesn't really matter. You know, and I've dealt with people previously who have high levels of anxiety, and the end for them might have been a week or a fortnight, right? So we can flex on what that end is, but effectively let's start with the end in mind. Then it's about create a really robust plan to get us there. And I did this last week. I had a couple of new clients start up with me last week, and on both occasions, two very different people, two very different businesses, but on both occasions, they had a sort of a wishy-washy idea of what they wanted, but we spent time really getting specific on what it is that they wanted and then building out a very robust plan.
Yeah, so just pause there. When you talk about start with the end in mind, I did want to remind anyone that's watching this at the moment, stay to the end, because we do have a great offer and a great giveaway at the end. So we started off, but then stay till the end. Okay. So anyway, this is great. So we've got our why, we've got a plan, right? And why do we need plans when business? I find a lot of business owners, whether it's myself or whichever, we go into business and we're like, we want to create this. But where I find and what I realized was I didn't know the steps to be able to create.
Sure.
Yes.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And look, quite often we don't, right? So whenever you try something for the first time, sometimes I describe it as it's going to a buffet. And sometimes you have to taste a lot of stuff. And you try a lot of stuff and you taste a lot of dishes. And this particular dish, it might be a yummy dish, and so you do more of that dish. Whereas this dish over here, it mightn't be that nice. And so you want to steer clear of that. And the same in business. You've got an end goal in mind, and you've got some milestones and an idea of some plans. But here's the reality. Sometimes you head down a particular pathway and it doesn't work. And it may not work for a myriad of different reasons. One of the biggest reasons that things don't work is that people give up. Right? That's the single biggest reason. Now, there can be other reasons. That is, it could be the wrong strategy. It could be the wrong time. The message may be different. You might not be clear on your target audience, and so on and so forth. But one of the big ones is people will say, well, Tony, I tried that once. And right? And so it's about consistently and persistently doing things over and over and over and over again, and you will have the results. If we tried something once and were always successful, then we're not actually getting the lesson, right? And so there's a saying which is easy come, easy go. When things come to us too easily, we don't value them. We don't appreciate them, right? Whereas things take a little bit of effort, then it's worth it. And the other thing too is that a lot of people in 2021 want to be entrepreneurs or want to be in business. Not everyone's going to be successful at it, right? And so this whole consistent piece is part of, I believe, nature's culling process to say, well, hang on a second, how serious and how committed are you to doing this? Because I like the idea of that, but there's a difference between liking the idea of something and actually being committed and doing what's required day in, day out, good times and bad times. And business isn't easy, right? You and I are both in business and been in business for a long time. It's not easy, right? It's filled with ups and downs and ups and good days and bad days. But it's about being consistent and constantly having a growth mindset that when sometimes I come across a challenge, then my growth mindset kicks in and it's like, well, what have we got to do? How do I get around this? How do I go over this, under it, whatever it might be? Because the thing on the other side, which is my goal, it's too big. It's too important. Can't let it go.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, that's the one point about, okay, making sure that we're focused and we're taking steps towards goals. The other thing that I've noticed with entrepreneurs is the shiny glittery ball syndrome. Is that the right thing? The shiny thing.
Yeah, so it's shiny objectitis. It's a disease, Cheryl. It's a very severe disease.
Self-confessed shiny object. What was that?
Correct, and it happens to all of us, right? But here's why it happens: because we're not fixated on our goal. So we're not clear on, when you get clear on what you want, when you've got this thing in front of you and it's so vividly clear, and you visualize it and you remind yourself of it on a regular basis, and regular for me is daily. When you remind yourself of this stuff on a regular basis, then every moment you have a choice. I can do something that takes me closer to where I want to get to, or this other thing, this shiny object, which is coming across, which is again a temptation designed to distract me, to see how serious I am. I can go towards that, and quite often what will happen is people will chase the shiny objects and they won't actually progress forward. The wheels will be spinning because they'll be going from idea to idea to idea, concept to concept to concept, and not actually taking traction. And so it's about narrowing down. Now, the word focus, right, which is what we want to talk about, is an acronym. And FOCUS stands for follow one course until success. Follow one thing. Do the one thing. Now, to get there, it may be a few different roads, but ultimately I've got this goal that's further down the road for me, and I'm so fixated and so focused on achieving that.
So how do you help people do that? I mean, this is part of the program. You're doing it in there. Let's talk a little bit about the practical ways that you're doing this. You've got this in your group coaching. How are you helping people to keep on track with where they are? Because there are always so many competing priorities in business.
Yep, absolutely. So firstly, we get clear on what we've got to do. So you spend time with me and all of my clients, and I work with a variety of clients, Cheryl, from manufacturing to services to services as in home services, services as in human resources. I've got IT companies that work with me. So quite a variety of people work with me, and also a vast experience in corporate land. But how I get people to do what it is they do is we create tasks for ourselves. It's all about specificity. The more specific we can be, and again, we start with end in mind, then we create tasks that we need to do that are going to take us the fastest we possibly can, the most efficient way to where I need to get to, right? And so there's a difference between being busy and being productive. And so it's my job to help people create a plan first and foremost to be as productive as they can be. And I'll give you an analogy. If we were to send a rocket from Earth to the moon, it was off target by 1%. It had missed the moon by 6,709 kilometres, right? And so the point I want to make there is you can be slightly off target and you can be working and working and working, but in fact, you're getting further and further and further away from the thing that you're going for. So it's about always having that vision down the road and then figuring out what are the specific plans that we need to do, the specific actions, right? And so that's the planning side, right? The planning side, and I have an acronym there, which is about filling the gap between where you want to be and where you are, and GAP stands for Goal Achievement Plan. It's about achieving goals. It's not about setting goals. It's not about planning for goals. It's about ultimately achieving the goals that we've set and planned for ourselves. And so I set a plan and then I hold people to account. I mean, accountability is one of those things. But here's the thing with accountability. Quite often, stuff will happen, right? So we can have the best laid out plan in the world, but if someone psychologically or from a mindset point of view isn't where they need to be, then it's not going to happen, right? And so that's the benefit of someone like me who's able to bring in the mindset side and the psychological side to actually help people get out of their own way to take action. So we've got this laid out plan, but then psychologically, what's the blockage? What's the limitation? Is it a fear of success, a fear of failure, a fear of criticism, a fear of rejection? It could be doubt, uncertainty, whatever it might be. And so I work with people to help them get clear on that.
Yeah. I love that accountability part of things, because like I said, we get so distracted. We can be tempted to be distracted by a whole lot of different priorities. Being able to have someone that's external to your business say, okay, we said we were going to do this. Are we, is that what we're focusing on, or is it something else? And I know that's the way that you work. You do challenge people. You're not here to be their best buddy.
No, I mean, that's exactly right. So people have got their own best friends, and it's a case of my job is to be objective to people and to tell it as directly as I can, but also being very sensitive to how not everyone's going to receive the message the same. So my message will be tailored to different individuals. And so I focus very heavily on EQ, or emotional intelligence, and really understanding the person. And for some people, they may want that message delivered a little softer, or it may take a few goes at delivering that message for it to actually sink in. For other people, it's like, just give it to me between the eyes, as straight as you can, and give it to me. And so that's my job then to be able to flex. But ultimately, it's about holding people to account, but also recognizing that when people do well, like I am your number one cheerleader. I am there, and we're backslapping and we're high-fiving. But when you don't achieve the things you want, I'm not here to get angry at you. I'm here to deeply understand why. Like my sole purpose or focus is I really want to understand why you're doing or not doing the thing that you said to me last time, this was your goal. You said to me last time, this was your plan. You said to me, this was your life's mission, and you're not doing it. And so let's deeply understand what's the drivers that sit beneath the surface And how do we then clear those to ensure that you can do the thing that you need to do?
Yeah. I mean, that again, I think that in itself is hugely valuable, because the times that we get distracted by so many other things take us away from the stuff that we should be actually working towards. So Tony, talk me through how the program works and how it's set out.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first thing is that we do a lot of pre-work. And so I've got videos set up, I've got downloadable worksheets set up for people. So I want people to have a go at their purpose, at their goals, at their planning before they even speak to me, right? And so there's videos, there's worksheets, there's a real guide to help people get through this. Now, that doesn't mean that when they come to me, everything's perfect, but at least they've had a go at it. And then from there, a couple of things. That gives me an indication of how far down the track they are from understanding the process point of view. But then also, my job is to help bang it into shape, challenge people. So quite often people will overestimate what they can do in 1 year and underestimate what they can do in 10 years, right? And that is that they want to do all these things. And it's like, Tony, I've got this list of 10 goals that I want to achieve, and I want to achieve them by next week. And it's like, whoa, And so one of the processes or theories that I use for goal setting is around the SMART acronym. It's well known, it's right throughout corporate land, and it stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time. So the A in SMART is achievable. So my job is to challenge people on that goal that you've set for yourself. Is it really that achievable, right? And so we work through, there's a process that I go through to help people understand it either is going to be achievable or it's not, right? And sometimes people, they set goals that are too soft. And it's like, come on, that's too easy. That's not challenging. The beauty of life is in growth, is in challenging ourselves to get out of our comfort zone and do different things. So there's a balance between, we don't want it to be unachievable because that becomes a demotivator, but then we also don't want it to be too easy because we're not really learning anything. So we go through that process, and as I said, there's pre-work. Then you spend time with me. And when you spend time with me, and it's a one-on-one time with me, and we get quite deep. We get deep on the work that you've done, your purpose, your goals, your planning, but then also questions around, what have you done before? Why have you not been successful in the past? What has been the blockages that have held you back? Then it's my job to clear those blockages. It's my job, and sometimes I can clear those blockages instantaneously, and other times depends upon how deep-seated they are and how entrenched in someone's subconscious. It may take a little while to do that, and so it's a case of, but we have to at least start. And so that's the one-on-one side of things for me. The other great thing is that you're also joining up the program, being a part of a community, right? So we've got a Facebook community, we've got people in there, like-minded people, business owners, regardless of what business that they're from, but they're all wanting to achieve growth and success and achieve their own goals, right, in business. And so there's stuff that we can learn from each other. I'll be contributing in there. I know you'll be contributing in there, and all the various business owners. And, the saying is, a rising tide lifts all boats, and so we're all going to learn from each other, and we're all going to lift each other up, and so that way then we can all have better businesses, into the future. The other thing then is we're going to come back in a month's time, and we're going to talk about then accountability. We're going to do it in a group setting, and there's three key areas that we focus on, right? In fact, there's four. So there's the first area that I always focus on when I see people for the second time, and I ask them two very specific questions. The first question is, what went well? Now, for a lot of people, if I was to say to them, how are you going? How's the last month been? I would get a tale of woe. This went wrong, that went wrong, this fell over, made the mistake here. Versus when I say to people, what went well? It's very deliberate. And it's deliberate because it gets people to think about the positive stuff. See, our minds aren't designed to naturally think about the positive. We naturally think about the negative stuff, right? And so to get people to go, oh, hang on a second, you want to talk about the good stuff? Yes, I do. So that's the first thing. But the other thing is that it's linked to gratitude. Gratitude is one of the key weapons in my own personal success. There was two key things for me. Gratitude was one, and accepting responsibility was the other. And there's been others, but they were the two that really got me started. Gratitude. I had a new client just recently who was really struggling, from a mindset point of view. Gratitude, appreciation. All of a sudden, you start to change people's perspective or people's context of things. Things don't look so bad. In fact, things are really good, right? And so then there's the whole thing around the law of attraction. I'm just seeing how much time I've got, whether I can go into this or not. But,
Juana hasn't. Oh, has Juana sent her little 5 minutes down? No, she's right.
No, she hasn't, right? And so the other thing, I'll just quickly talk about this, right? So the majority of people, right, and business people, people in life, spend their life complaining about what they don't have, right? They come from a position of lack, from a position of, I wish I was further down the road. If only I had that fancy house or that nice car or more money or whatever it is, right? And it's lack. So for me, I'm a believer in a number of the universal laws, and one of them being the law of attraction. So my interpretation of that is that what you put out to the world comes back. So if you come from a position of lack and you constantly think about lack, then you're going to get frustrated, angry, upset, disappointed, where life's at, right? Because you wanted to be further down the road. And so I'm not where I am, and I've just, you know what? And life's just not very good for me. So I'm going to put all that out to the world, and that's all going to come back to me, right? All those emotions that I talked about. Conversely, if I flip that around and go, well, I'm not where I want to be. Like, let's not BS ourselves, right? I'm not where I want to be, but I'm on the right path. I'm heading in the right direction, but I'm so happy with the stuff I've got. I'm so happy with my family, my experiences, and they're the big things from gratitude, right? Typically when people start off with gratitude, it's about the big stuff, right? But how do we get down to the little things? How do we get down to appreciate the fact that Wednesday morning, you and I are having a chat to each other. You're sitting in a park somewhere. I'm in a lovely office somewhere. It's raining outside. It's cooling. Whatever it might be, right? There's so many little things to be grateful for, and it's about developing an attitude of gratitude. And now I'm looking for good wherever I want to go. From the law of attraction point of view, I'm putting good out to the world, and guess what comes back? Greatness, happiness, etc. When I'm happy, am I more or less productive when I'm happy? Well, I'm more productive, right? And so it's about getting people into the right mindset. And so again, that's the first question. What went well? The second question that I ask is, what can you do different, right? Now that's not what went wrong in the last month, not what did you fail at, what were your mistakes, right? What can you do different, right? And that is deliberate language to get you looking in a forward direction, because you can't change what happened. Like in the last month since we saw each other, stuff's happened. Some good stuff, some bad stuff, some average stuff. We can't change any of it, right? It's all about what can we do moving forward to make a different outcome. Because if I keep doing the same stuff, well, then I'm going to have the same outcome. And if I think I'm going to have a different outcome, well, that's called insanity, right? So it's about, I need to do something very different to move forward to have a different outcome. And so that's a very deliberate question. And then it's about looking at people's homework as well. So if we haven't, some of those questions, we talk about homework. It depends on what the answers are, but some of that homework comes up in what went well or what could I do different. But then the next part is any leftover homework or any leftover task, because every time you spend time with me, it's about task. It's about what are you specifically going to do and by when. Like, it's not just, I'm just going to, call 5, prospects, or I'm going to set up a landing page. No, by when are we going to do that, right? And so that's important to then round that out. And the last thing I focus on in a group coaching setting is there anything else? Is there anything else that we can talk about? Go back to the point I made earlier around group coaching. One of the great things, and I said rising tide lifts all boats, but it works beautifully where someone's going through a particular challenge and they're sharing their experiences, and I'm providing advice to that person. Someone else may not have experienced that, but at least they're getting the solution in before that actually happens. So then when that may happen to them in a month, 3 months, whatever, at least they will have the seed planted around, here's a way that you could solve it. So for example, it might be, hey, someone's dealing with overwhelm. Well, let's talk about how you deal with overwhelm. And let's talk about, breaking things down, writing them down, prioritizing, whatever it might be. Someone else around the room may not be experiencing overwhelm, but at least that's a good tip and a trick for them to take away. But again, it's that, rising tide lifts all boats.
Absolutely. That's the thing I do love about group coaching. And it's about that collaboration and how you learn from other people as well, because there might be things, there'll be strategies or other things that you might not have thought of, or you have experienced but just haven't thought to bring it up. But someone's going through that and you're like, oh yeah, I didn't think of that, or I could apply that to my business. But just wanting to sort of in a way, I know that we've got sort of another 5 minutes, but here's where I think it's been the reason for this sort of collaboration, because I see where people are getting coaching and they're able to move forward. But what I find is that then being able to come away from coaching sessions and execute the task that they're meant to do, often they're like, with good intention, I want to do this, but again, I don't have time. I've got so much to do. And this is where we found such a great partnership, where if you have a team, if you've got a virtual champion, or you've just got someone else in your team to be able to delegate or outsource to, you're able to say, hey guys, I got this amazing amount of content and value from our session with Tony and our coaching. We need to do this. This is the stuff I'll look after, but can you look after the rest of it?
Absolutely, because the number one excuse that people have is time, right? Is that they have no time. And so the great thing about the business that you operate, the Growth Hub Global, is that you guys help remove that excuse, right? By you take up the things to get things off people's plates. I love the process that you guys go through with your task shredder. It's like, let's talk about all the things that you're doing. Now, let's work our way through this. Which ones do we need to do? Which ones does the business need to do? Which ones does that individual need to do? And it's a wonderful, wonderful process. So that's a great thing. You free up the time. And so now with that freed up time, now it's, well, how do we fill that time? Right, what are the things specifically that we're going to do? Let's not use time as our excuse anymore, because that's gone. How are we going to fill our time to be productive? Not busy, productive. It's about getting us from point A to point B as efficiently and as effectively as we possibly can. And that's where having then the collaboration of you guys are helping free up the time, and then I'm helping fill that time and create the plan, and then holding people to account to get from point A to point B.
Love it. And this is where, if you stuck with us to the very, very end, we have our exciting giveaway. And as part of the Tony Meredith coaching and the Growth Hub collaboration, anyone that basically comes on board as a full-time client for with the Growth Hub and with a full-time champion, we are enrolling you for free into Tony Meredith's Business Accelerator program, and it's on the house. So we actually pay for it. We're not getting any freebies because we see how much value it brings. Like our intention is for at least the first 90 days of working with us, and I'm talking about Tony's coaching and with the Growth Hub and your champion, that you have a clear path to accelerate and to grow, accelerate. Those are our buzzwords. So it's extremely good value, because again, anyone that's needing to sort of pay the RRP, what are the costs around that, Tony?
From an RRP point of view, with me, well, I mean, it's a $5.97 is what we're pitching the price at. But again, that's a special price for TGH. And I think it's an incredibly generous offer that you guys are doing. I remember sort of questioning, going, really, you're going to give that away for free? And firstly, thank you for putting your faith and confidence in me, the fact that you're doing that. I think it's an amazing offer. So now a potential TGH client, they're going to come on board. They're in great hands, knowing full well that the TGH team of champions are going to take care of whatever their needs are, from administration to social, to whatever it might be, to landing pages, etc. And then I'm going to help them from an acceleration point of view. And hence, that's what we called it, the Business Accelerator program. It's very deliberate, the naming, because we want to, now you've freed up that time, how do we accelerate? How do we really kick things up a notch or two? And wow, to get it for free to come on board, well, to me, that seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah, I mean, we've had quite a few clients that we started to put into this, and it's just, they're like, this is great. This is such good value. And again, we've seen it all. It's all about obsessing about our clients' growth. I know you're the same values. We've got the same values there. We just want to see people succeed. Either way, let's share the link. And Juana, if you could pop that into the comment section. Anyone that's interested to find out about the Business Accelerator program, you don't need to be a client of the Growth Hub. But that's the program there. Anyone that's keen to find out more about outsourcing, virtual champions, virtual assistants, and how we can help free up that time for you, drop me a PM or feel free to book a call with me. Juana will pop that in the comments as well. If you want to talk to Tony about the Business Accelerator program and if it's the right fit for you, reach out to Tony, PM him. Tony, do you have a calendar invite that you can?
I do, yes. I'll put it into the notes, Cheryl, once we're finished here. So I'll pop it in the notes, and please reach out to me. I'm always open for a chat because I want to help people.
Yeah.
You know, I want to help people move forward. Business doesn't need to be as difficult as what people make it out to be. And so let's help people move forward and create whatever business that they want for themselves. I call it business by design. It can be anything. It can be anything you want it to be. Let's get clear on it, build a plan, and let's take enormous action to get you to achieve success.
Thank you, Tony. Action Man. There it is. It's been an absolute pleasure. I love it. Always love it. And again, so excited by this collaboration and happy that we're launching it and we're announcing it to the world.
Yay! Very good. Fantastic. Thank you, Cheryl. Really appreciate it.
Have a great day. You too. You take care of yourself and take care, everyone. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.